Hello and welcome to another edition of the Mizzou Sports Podcast. My name is Daniel Jones. I'm with the Columbia Daily Tribune. With me is Cameron Teague-Robinson. We are here in Mizzou Arena after a crushing, I would say, 77-75 Florida victory here at Mizzou Arena. I don't know. I figured we could start off this podcast kind of quickly rehashing some of the personal crushing blows in our own arsenals.
Right.
That one was one of the most unique I've ever seen at Mizzou Arena. I don't know if I've ever seen a basketball game end in that fashion. But when you think of losses that really tore your heart out, which ones come to mind for yourself?
For me, the biggest one, and it's really not even a contest, is Game 3 of the NBA Finals last year. When the Cavs lost to the Warriors because Durant pulled up in LeBron's face and hit the three. I'll never forget that. That was just, you were with me on that game. It was heartbreaking.
You were pretty distraught.
I was crushed because I thought the Cavs if the Cavs won that game, it would have been a series. But that was the biggest heartbreak for me. It was nothing like this. I've never seen anything like this with this game today.
Yeah, this one was kind of singularly, it was crushing, because of its impact. I mean, that was an important game.
Right.
But because of it was literally snatching defeat from the Jazz victory. It was like you had the last shot. And I wrote about Chris Chiuliza in my game story, I guess my sidebar, and it really Mizzou didn't even know it was dead until he was like halfway down before going the other way. Yeah. As a fan, the Game 7 of the World Series when the Royals lost to the Giants, that one sucked a lot. Yeah. That was an amazing run and came to a pretty swift end with Madison Bumgarner kind of like just strangling the life out of you. I was trying to think as an athlete in my short athletic career of games that were crushing.
Easy for me. I was playing our rival Padua in soccer my senior year. We had never beat them. They came into our stadium and we have like a victory bell and they rang our victory bell as they walked in. So we were already pissed off. Mm-hmm. We were up 1-0 the whole game. Probably my best game and goal ever. And it was 4 minutes left. They had like a crazy, two really good forwards, and we had kept them out, and they got a stupid header off like the post. And we didn't even lose. We tied, but I was crying in the huddle. I was so pissed off that they tied it because I wanted to beat them so bad. That was without a doubt. Like I can't imagine what those guys are going through.
Right. That's on a national scale. I think the worst for me was I played soccer like you, and in high school we lost to our rivals in a game that went into double overtime and then penalty kicks. And it went through the first 5, and then it was like you had like the 6th and 7th and 8th guys up shooting penalty kicks. And the other team, our main rival high school, they made theirs, and then our guy hit his free or penalty kick hit the crossbar. And I remember the enduring image was the ball shooting up into the sky and the other team celebrating by sprinting out on the field. Yeah. So those are the
same thing for them today.
Yeah, it was pretty much the exact same.
Water runs out on the field and you just see like Jordan Geis and Jordan Barnett walking by, head down.
Right. So what do you make of that? Of that loss when you finally processed what happened? What was kind of your first thought?
Like the play, the steal? Wow. I literally couldn't believe it when it happened. I was like, it was a very lazy pass, to be fair. Jordan Geis, who played pretty well. Like Jordan Geis is going to get killed for a turnover on Twitter, all social media, but he played pretty well. It was a lazy pass. I really didn't understand the play call, play design out of a timeout. But you got to give all credit to Chris Chiuliza. That was a tremendous play and he read it from the start. Like we were watching the play over and over again. And you could, from the moment they inbounded the ball, his eyes were on Jordan Geis. He was guarding Jordan Barnett, who was the hottest player on the floor.
Right.
And his eyes were only on Jordan Geis. And the second Jordan Geis dribbled through his legs, Chiuliza just sprinted towards the pass and jumped it.
A couple points on that play, because I've probably watched the replay 50 times up in the press area after the game. First of all, Jordan Barnett was not a part of the play. Was not even on the side of the floor that they were trying. That they were running all the action.
Right.
I don't know if that was part of a design to keep Chiuliza away from the ball, or if he was, which obviously would have been unsuccessful.
Yeah.
But I thought it was odd that he wasn't, a part of whatever was happening.
Right.
Wasn't a part of the play. Second was the Jordan Geist had the ball, and I mean, Cassius Robertson was open.
Yes.
Jonte Porter ran down. He ran from the elbow, faked like he was going to set a screen, and ran down into the post. He drew two defenders. He drew Cassius Robertson's defender.
Yeah.
And Jordan Geist saw Cassius Robertson motioning to get open, and Chris Truiza saw it at the same time. Jordan Geist and Chris Truiza saw Cassius Robertson open at the same time. Jordan Geist was dribbling through his legs when Cassius Robertson made his motion to get open. By the time the ball got to Jordan Geist's left hand to where he could make the pass, Chris Truiza was already 3 steps over and in position.
He was pretty much in Cassius Robertson's face before Jordan Geist even got the ball.
So that dribble between the legs, and totally inadvertent, might have been the difference in a game-winning shot and a game-losing turnover.
And here's my thing. I tweeted it before the play. Before they even came out of timeout, I was like, Jordan Barnett has to touch the ball, right? Like, even if he doesn't, I tweeted he has to take the shot. Even if he doesn't take the shot, he's got to touch the ball. He has to be somewhere where he's not just on the wing. He almost looked like he was just standing in the corner. It wasn't even a
right, exactly. Not a part of the play at all.
Right. So that was confusing to me.
The other thing I think that in hindsight, maybe, I don't know, I feel like in hindsight, Konzo Martin will probably feel like I think it was a bad idea to have the play that set everything up be a pass at the top of the key, where a turnover can lose you the game. A pass into the post or a pass into the corner towards the basket, that will not lose you the game.
You still defend that.
Exactly. Like throwing a swing pass in a football game, like if a linebacker intercepts that, that's a dangerous pass, and that's the pass that you hinge the game on. I think in retrospect and in hindsight, that will be something that might kind of upset Konzo Martin. Maybe in the future, we'll see a different play design. But, I mean, really, Cassius Robertson was open. The ball didn't get to him fast enough, and the difference was a turnover going the other way. There was a lot that happened before that. That was the last 4 seconds of the game. There was officiating. I think that became kind of a big story. You had Jordan Barnett absolutely tearing it up. You had Jonte Porter finding him and a bunch of other people. He was probably Missouri's best playmaker.
And 6 assists. I think second in assists was is tied between Jordan Geist and Terrence Phillips, all who had 1 or something like that.
Yeah.
3 others who had 1 assist.
Right.
Your power forward led you in assists with 6.
Right.
More than your player.
And then you also had the first game without Blake Harris. Just what aside from that last play, what about this game stood out to you?
Really, for me, I really came into this game wanting to see what the rotations were going to look like. Obviously, the first backcourt grouping we saw without Geist and Cassius Robertson on the floor was Terrence Phillips and Cullen Van Leer. They seemed to play good minutes in the first half. They didn't play almost any in the second half. I mean, Konzo started the second half with Jonte Porter, Kevin Purrier, Barnett, Cassius, and Jordan Geist, mainly because Tillman was on the bench with fouls. All game. And then he seemed to just stick with those 5. I mean, Tillman fouled out, so he couldn't play. So that would have been your 6th guy, but he just didn't seem – I don't think it still doesn't seem like they trust Terrence Phillips that much.
No, not in the second half. Terrence Phillips played a little bit, and they yanked him out after he made that foul.
Right.
At the other, in the backcourt, away from the play.
It was an off-ball foul. I think the foul was on when he fouled the screener, if I'm correct. Yeah. Or it looked like he was getting screened, and maybe he fouled the guy with the ball.
I think that was his last moment on the floor.
Yeah.
And that was probably with 12 minutes to go.
Right. And then everybody else played the rest of the game. I mean, you're talking about Jordan Barnett and Cassius Robertson played all 20 minutes in the second half.
Yeah. I thought, well, you mentioned Jonte Porter. That was what I was going to write about, actually, was Jonte Porter's assists before the end of the game happened. Just his playmaking ability, his ability to find people that are open and can take shots is uncanny for somebody his size. I don't know if there's anybody that can pass the way he can pass that's 6'11" in college basketball.
And his height helps his vision because he can see everything.
Yeah.
And he's just a tremendous passer. It really is fun to watch to see him just be able to find anybody on any side of the court whenever he wants it.
I don't know how many it ended up being. I know in the beginning of the second half, Jordan Barnett had 7 made baskets. 6 of them were off Jonte Porter.
Jonte Porter had 6 assists.
So I think Jordan Barnett finished with 8 buckets. I think he was like 8 of 11 or 8 of 13. So 6 of those came off passes from Jonte Porter. Yeah. So, I mean, it was just like that connection was so potent and it worked so well. all day.
I believe John also had like 7 rebounds. I want to say he had somewhere around 8 or 9 points. I mean, you're talking about a guy who in a few years could be a walking triple double.
Yeah.
In basketball. Mm-hmm. He's very, very good. Even right now.
Okay, we do have a comment from Alex Schiffer. What did he
Alex
say?
Schiffer. Many of you may know him as the series sports reporter for the Kansas City Star, or many of you may know him as the guy who tweeted today.
It wasn't the official
It wasn't the official's fault. He asked, "When am I able to come out of hiding?" I don't know, Schiff. It might be a couple days.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
It might be a couple days. You might have to chill out through the weekend.
I don't know if you saw it, Schiff, but somebody did tell you to stay in New Jersey.
I don't want you to come back, Schiff.
Maybe we need to put you in the witness protection program.
Right.
What did you think of the officiating? It was a major, I think, plot point today.
It was tough. I know Jeremiah Tillman got hit with 2 pretty tough ones. The one where he almost like tried to flop for a block. Was that his 5th foul?
I think it was his 4th foul.
That one, I thought I didn't think it was a foul, but the reason it was called a foul was because his body jerked.
Yeah.
And it almost looked like he was trying to flop it.
Like there was a lot of contact there, right. But there wasn't.
Right. And it looked like he was trying to sell it, but didn't go at it. If you're going to sell it, you got to go.
Yeah.
And I think that's what the referee saw. I don't think it was a foul on Jeremiah. There's nothing else he could do in that position. But I think his body jerking like that is what the ref is like, okay, that's a foul. And it's a foul on Jeremiah because he's the defender in that position. But again, you can't get the first 3 fouls. Yeah. No matter how bad those 2 fouls are, you can't get the first 3.
Yeah, Cuonzo Martin had some interesting words to say after the game. In his post-game press conference, basically said he was hoping that Jeremiah Tillman didn't get a reputation. And by that, I think what he was getting at was he didn't want Jeremiah Tillman to get a reputation as a guy who fouls a lot.
Yeah, and it's specifically by the referees.
Right, and I think so that the reason that came up is because when you have those kind of bang plays, you're not really sure how much contact there was. Right. You see Jeremiah Tillman, probably a foul.
Right.
And I think Cuonzo Martin was trying to kind of head that off. There was another one, an attempted block, where he didn't even touch the guy.
Right, yeah.
And that ended up being a foul.
I think Johnson had one of those as well. Cassius Robertson's one was the biggest one because that changed the entire game.
The 3-pointer at the end.
I don't think he touched Jalen Hudson.
I don't think he did either.
But you call that foul. I think it's maybe you're just anticipating maybe he's going to touch him. And I think on that play, that's a 3-pointer to change the game. Of all plays to anticipate a foul, that's the worst one. Not only because not just because it's like a game changer, but because who anticipates fouls on 3-point shots?
Yeah,
nobody does that.
I think that if you watch the replay, the official was motioning for a foul before contact was even made.
Right, which I don't
or would have been.
Right. So I mean, Jalen Hudson goes down and makes two of his 3 free throws. And I mean, everybody knows the rest.
Yeah.
Turnover, game over. But that was a tough one. I thought the referees lost. I mean, you can argue fouls here and there, but I thought all in all, they lost control of the game in the final 8 minutes. I don't understand how Igor doesn't get a flagrant for pretty much almost pulling Jordan Geist on the side. And Jordan Geist looked like he was ready to go to town when he jumped out.
That's the Jordan Geist that we all know and love. It's the one getting up from a potential injustice or potential slight he perceived.
It was just tough. I don't know. I thought they just lost control of the game towards the end. And you can't do that when it's a game of this magnitude.
Cuonzo Martin said it might have been one of the toughest he's ever encountered.
Right.
And referring to the officiating, he didn't say that. He just said it was tough, if you know what I mean.
Saying,
yeah, and he said it was one of the toughest that he'd ever been a part of as a coach.
Kind of crazy to think of.
Yeah. I guess so. You also had some. I don't know. The point guard issue was big coming into today.
Right.
We talked a little bit about how Terrence Phillips didn't play in the second half, but where does Mizzou go from here? Now that you've seen a game without Blake Harris and what Missouri has to offer, where do you go?
I don't know, man. I really don't. I don't think my opinion of them playing Terrence Phillips hasn't changed. I think he still has a lot to prove with his team. Just when you talk about fouls that took him out in the second half, some poor turnovers. I think there's a reason Cuonzo stuck with the 5 guys he played in the second half and didn't go to anybody else.
Yeah.
Those are the guys he trusts, and those are the guys he knows who can kind of make things happen down the stretch. Until that changes, I think they're gonna have to find somebody that they can trust and carrying the ball. Now, is that guy Cassius? Do you have him with the ball in his hands? I don't think he's more of he's a better guy coming off ball screen.
Yeah,
he's open
his
so
game,
much on ball screen.
He shoots so much better
right.
when he's catching and shooting.
Right. So I don't know what to do. I mean, Jordan Dyson needs help at point guard.
Yeah.
It's just where do you find it right now? And I don't know if that person's on the roster unless you make it Cassius.
Yeah, I think it has to be. If it's not going to be Terrence Phillips, then it has to be Cassius. Those are your only two options.
Right, unless
Or
you're going to play
Brett
by Rao.
So it's a tough answer to a tough question. Jordan Geist played pretty well today, as we said. But if there's an injury, if there's foul trouble, anything like that, then you're going
tough. I mean, you don't even have any other guards.
Right.
Even if Jordan Geist gets foul trouble, your guards are Cassius and Terrence Phillips and Cullen Van Leer.
Who didn't play hardly at all.
Right. Hit a 3 in the first half. They're in a tough spot guard-wise, especially with Blake leaving. And then it's not to say that Blake was an All-American per se. It's just the depth that he provided. Like, it was just another body you could throw out there in waves.
Yeah.
So it's a tough spot right now.
Jordan Burnett finished with 28 points.
Fire lately.
Yeah.
He can't miss.
He is. He's been really, really good.
Yeah.
He shot 6 of 9 from 3.
Yeah.
I think was his final stat.
Yeah. And he had a 3 from like 4 or 5 feet, like beyond the 3-point
That was
line,
at the end of the shot clock.
with a hand in his face.
Yeah. End of the shot clock. They gave it to him. He was like looking at the half court line and turned around and put up a 28 or 29 foot 3-pointer that went in at the shot clock. That's when you knew it was just going to be a good night.
Yeah.
What has he done differently in your purview to start putting up these kinds of numbers in confidence?
I think he's just shooting the ball very confidently. I mean, you see him, like, he gets the ball and he's ready to go. He's ready to shoot the ball each time he gets it. And that's not to say that he's forcing shots, which I don't think he is. But he's just shooting the ball very confidently. He puts it up. He believes it's going in. He's crashing the offensive glass very strong. You saw him get a few points off his offensive rebounds today. I think he still gets to the basket a little more because of how athletic he is and how good of a free throw shooter he is. But he is shooting the ball very confidently. And when you're confident shooting the ball and you're on a 10-game streak like he is, it's very hard to slow down.
One thing Gonzo said about him, and this is what Kim Anderson would always say last year, is he's so tall. Kim Anderson, I believe, said this a lot about Frankie Hughes, but it applies to Jordan Barnett. He's so tall. He's 6'7". He gets up really high on his jump shot. It's really hard to – I mean, it's almost impossible to block a jump shot,
Right.
It is, but it's really hard even to kind of contest it. You can't get your hand high enough to, like, affect his view. And so when he's hot like that, it's hard to get him out of rhythm because you can't really do much to affect a shot besides prevent him from getting that look in the first place.
And especially where Missouri plays him, he's one of these guys who, I mean, most of the time he's being guarded by people who are smaller than him. They're not playing him at a 4 where he's overpowered, where he's oversized. He's in a 3 spot where you're playing people 6'5", 6'6". Jordan Barnett 6'7" and when he's rising up like that, you're not really going to be able to contest that. Even if you are 6'7", you're not really contesting that.
One thing about Jordan Barnett is on games when he looks really, really good, even in the game, he can go from being really, really good to invisible. Right. Happened against Illinois. Right. It's happened a lot in his career where he's played really well for like 10 to 20 to 25 minutes and then kind of disappeared, especially in the second half.
Right. He did a little bit in 2 kind of spurts today. Like, second half of the first half, he scored 13 in like the first 8 minutes.
Yep.
And then disappeared, and the Zoo struggled.
Yeah.
And in the second half, he didn't shoot what he took. Didn't take a shot for like the last 10 minutes.
I think so. Yeah, 10 or 11 minutes.
Again, disappeared.
Yeah.
That's it's something you just want to see. Like, he doesn't have to have 28 points a game,
right?
But you want to see him kind of continue to play the whole.
You need
40
your
minutes.
difference makers to continue to
Right.
make a difference throughout the game,
Right.
especially at the end when you're trying to either hold a lead or extend it or make a comeback.
Right. I think he needed help today. He usually gets it in Cassius. Cassius just didn't shoot well.
Yeah. And I know, Jordan Geist didn't score a lot tonight. Jonte played a pretty good game, but didn't score a lot tonight. He did make a couple of really good plays, like that play he made under the basket. I thought that was going to be the play that gave Mizzou the breathing space they needed. He made that, and then that was when Florida got the 3 free throws at the other end with a minute left. But that was a heck of a play by Jonte to score. They didn't get it. Mizzou didn't really get anything from Kevin Purrier tonight. And Jeremiah Tillman played 8 minutes.
Yeah, what do you have? 4 points, 2 points?
I think I don't know. I think it was 6 or 8.
Okay.
I don't know. But at any rate, I mean, there was just a lot of people that kind of showed up for a little bit and then went away. Yeah. And Jordan Barnett was kind of the one who was there for you from the beginning to the end. But by the end, he wasn't getting looks. He wasn't like Mizzou's go-to guy.
Right.
Not in the last possession and not at the end of the second half.
I think Cash it seems like Cash is going to be that guy, their go-to guy when the clocks when they said they're at the game, they need a bucket. It seems like Cash is going to be that guy. I think he's probably their best playmaker off the dribble. Now that Blake's gone, so
he did make a couple plays off the dribble.
Yeah,
but I don't think that's really his game.
Right, I agree.
I think he feels like he has to do that because you can't just be you can't be the go-to guy if all you can do is catch and shoot threes.
Right.
You have to be able to do some things off the dribble too, to keep people honest. But I don't think that's his game. I think his game is catching and shooting, and Mizzou's just made him the go-to guy because they know he's the oldest, and those threes are important. Like, do you have any other thoughts on this game today? They play Georgia this week, and then they go to Arkansas.
Arkansas Saturday. I guess really quickly, I guess, but not least, this is just a tough loss for them because it's going to be a resume builder. It doesn't hurt their resume because Florida's going to be very good. I imagine Florida will be back in the top 25 by the NCAA tournament. But this could have been a big game for them to put on their resume. They're still lacking a quality resume builder.
Yeah, I agree.
They're going to get some chances here, but this would have been a really good one to have.
They still have a couple of big opportunities. They have games coming up against Arkansas, Texas A&M, Kentucky. They play home and away at all three of those. Yeah. Tennessee too will be big.
Do they go to Florida as well this year?
No, I don't think so. So there's still winnable games out there that will go a long way in, building a resume and going for quality wins, especially if you can. If they do, and so especially if you can get some of those on the road, those will count even more.
Like an Alabama on the road,
right?
Who's struggling right now, but still has a talented team. There's just games all over the schedule they can get. It would be nice you can start your conference schedule with the big ones.
I feel like Mizzou has just had a lot of opportunities that have already slipped through their fingers. Yeah. West Virginia, Illinois, now Florida. Yeah. I mean, they've only lost 4 games this season, but I mean, they were all games that either could have or should have been wins. And Utah was the one that really got away from. Yeah, but any one of those would have been a resume builder. Didn't make any of them count. Now your best win is still against St. John's or maybe at UCF, depending on how they finish up the year or so. Right. I don't know. That South Carolina win was good. They played really well.
I don't think when you're South Carolina's be good enough to where you can go into your resume and be like, we beat South Carolina on the road.
Yeah.
And that puts you over somebody else. I just don't think they're going to be that good this year.
Yeah, I'm with you there too. So they'll play, again, 2 big ones coming up this week. Yep. Arkansas, game at Arkansas has always been challenging. They're a really good team, and they're playing in Fayetteville. So we'll have more coverage coming up in advance and after that game. I think we're both – are you going to be in Arkansas?
Yep.
We'll both be there at Arkansas for that game next weekend. And a road win would be big for this team.
Yeah.
Okay, well, thanks for tuning in. We've kind of touched on what was a rough afternoon at Mizzou Arena.
Feels like night.
I guess it feels like night now. Yeah. I've got my red on. I'm going to go try to catch the rest of this Chiefs game. We'll see. It's 14-0 the last time I looked. People who are listening to this, people who are listening to this after the game is over will probably laugh at my naivete that my team, I feel like my team is winning right now. They know the result. When they eventually go back and listen to it, they're going to be like, wow, he was so innocent. He thought he had a chance.
He thought they were going to win.
Just like Mizzou. I mean, it's just like he thought everything was going to go so well, and he had no idea that it was all going to come crashing down later. So I'm going to go catch the rest of that game, and then we'll get back to work tomorrow. Women play tomorrow. More basketball coming up this week. Thanks for tuning in. You can read all our work in the pages of the Columbia Tribune and at columbiatribune.com. Follow us on Twitter. Subscribe to the podcast on iTunes, SoundCloud, everything else. Thanks for tuning in, and we'll talk to you again next week.